Thank you, Shadi. My name is Tara Abdullah. I work for Google, and I just want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about why we're so excited about the web, what we feel the opportunities are for you in the travel industry to grow your business online, and also to give you some thoughts and ideas about how we can make the most out of the web for your businesses. So fasten your seatbelt. So we know that the web is more than websites, right? We know that today the internet has evolved. Today that the extent of e-commerce available online is significantly bigger than it was before. The web is really a space for business to be done. One of the things that are interesting about the Middle East in particular is that we always think it skipped a stage, right? So there was a point where the internet was used only for communication, and then there was a point where it became for communication and entertainment. And in the Middle East, we seem to have arrived at the point where it was more entertainment than it was communication. And it seems to have, to a large degree, we seem to be behind the rest of the world when it comes to leveraging the web to the max and leveraging the potential that exists through e-commerce. But before we talk about that, I think what's worth looking at is how far and how quickly the web has progressed over the last few years. So one of the analogies we like to draw a lot is this comparison, the speed comparison, right? So if you look at the internet in 94 and you think about the speed of the internet in 94, it was the equivalent of an ant, right? So an ant walking on the floor. If you look at the internet in 2012, relative to the speed that it was in 94, is the same relativity that's between a jet plane and an ant, right? So it's like Mach 7.2 versus where that ant was going at 0.028 Mbps, which was the maximum speed. If you remember, at least I remember, the days when we used to actually have to call a phone number in order to get online. That was the ant. Those were the days of the ant. But today we're in the days of the jet plane. In 2000, 75% of the world's information was held on discs and films and books and reels and all sorts of different storage devices. In 2007, experts estimated that 94% of all the information in the world was actually online. The same thing happened with the adoption of the mobile phone. So essentially we're looking at, in 2000, 500 million users. There was actually a very famous study by a consulting firm, which I won't name, where they predicted that there was actually no future for mobile phones. This is a very big and very well established consulting firm, had issued a very famous report in the 60s, I think, saying there is no market potential for a mobile phone. Well, today there's 6.4 billion subscriptions of mobile devices around the world. That's almost as many people as they are on the planet. Right? So obviously there are lots of people who have 2 devices and 3 devices and iPads and tablets that have SIM cards, so those are counted as subscribers. But still, can you imagine that almost everybody in the world, from a mathematical sense, has access to a mobile phone? There are 400,000 babies that are born every day, but there are 1.3 million Android devices that are activated every day. Every single day, 1.3 million people turn on an Android device for the first time in their lives, or for the first time for that device. That's a significant number. That just gives you an idea for what the scale looks like. We serve 100 billion searches a month as Google, so 100 billion unique searches every month. But what I find really interesting about that is that 16% of those searches are searches we've never seen before. So they're not like they're all repeats of the same thing. They're searches that we've never seen, brand new searches. And that's very inspiring because it just shows you the extent to which humans are using Google and using the internet to find out new things and to find out new information. YouTube is also a massive phenomenon. So 72 hours of video uploaded every single minute. In the Middle East and North Africa, almost 300 million views a day on YouTube. And that just goes to show you the extent, again, of penetration of the platform. the other thing, I think you might have seen different versions of this in the past, but the other thing that's quite interesting as well is the pace of adoption of technology. So it took the internet less than 15 years to get to almost the same level of penetration that it took TV 100 years to get to, right? And that's going to keep happening, right? So again, smartphones, you're going to see that adoption rate be even sharper, and that's the pace at which this technology is moving. So on to travel. So why is all this important for you guys? If you look at the travel industry, and tomorrow we're going to publish a very comprehensive study around online behavior for the travel industry. But here's a couple of things that are going to that are going to be talked about in more detail tomorrow. The first one is that between 2009 and 2011, travel search, so people searching for travel information online, has doubled in the UAE and Saudi, right? That's a big change. There's 95% growth in that, like I said, almost doubled. And 3 out of 4 GCC travel searches come from the UAE and Saudi. So the UAE and Saudi are kind of the most penetrated markets, and those are the markets where more people than anywhere else are looking for travel information. There's a lot of information here, but I think what's the key one that I think is particularly interesting is this one here. So the internet is used as the number one source when planning a trip for almost 40% of travelers in the UAE and Saudi. Almost 40% of people turn to the internet first. Not to their family, not to a travel agency, not to a catalog, but to the internet. 40%. Are you making the most out of that? So today, as a business that's in the travel industry, are you making the most out of this trend or not? Mobile, 82% of those 40% are looking for that information on their device, on their phone, right? The question that I ask you is your website optimized for that? Is your website ready to receive 80% of its traffic through a mobile device or not? Now, websites on mobile, as you know, look very different to websites on a desktop computer, but you can also adapt the design of a website to make it very friendly for a mobile user. Are you doing that? Are you really capitalizing on this benefit? And 80% of people are watching videos online, so essentially on YouTube, to find out information about the places that they're going. Are you there? Are you part of that trend? And the barriers to this, so people want to do this, but the barriers that they have is a poor user experience. So a website that's not optimized, a company that they can't find, a destination they can't find offers for. These are the sort of barriers that you can overcome and unlock really the value of this trend and the value of this business for you. So how can we help you do that? Well, first of all, we're in the connection business. So we're all about connecting consumers with the information they're looking for and connecting marketers with the customers they care about. So how do we do that? We do that predominantly through search. And in search, there is an advertising product that you may have heard of, which is called AdWords, right? AdWords is an online advertising product that triggers an ad when people are actually looking for a related search term. So let me show you an example of what that looks like. I just did this like 10 minutes ago. If I'm looking for a hotel in Dubai, what do I see? So what you see down here, this part that doesn't have circles around it, so this part down here, these are called organic search results. Organic search is essentially standard search rankings that are based on a logarithm, or an algorithm, that determines which website is closest to what you're looking for, right? You may be there, you may be in organic search, but you also will most likely not be in organic search, because if you're looking for a hotel, you can imagine how many hotels there are in Dubai. Are you going to be close to the first 1 or 2 or 3? If you're in the restaurant business, how many restaurants are there in Saudi Arabia? Are you going to be on the first page? It's difficult. You can get there, but it's very tough. But fortunately, there's a way to actually be on the first page and to be very close to search terms that people are looking for, which is through AdWords. So these areas that I've put circles around are actually examples of people who have paid for advertising to appear when someone searches for hotel in Dubai. So for example, Agoda have paid to be up here, so that the second highest thing that the user sees on the screen is hotel in Dubai, plenty of choices in Dubai, agoda.com. And they'll click on that, right? So what's so good about this? Why is this such an interesting thing? So first of all, you're going to be very close to someone who's looking for something related to your business. So they already have an intent. So you're much more likely to sell a hotel room or rent a car to someone who's searching for rent a car than to someone who's not necessarily looking for that. So the purchase intent is much higher. But the powerful thing about it is that you're in full control over this, which means that you only pay when someone clicks. So if you're showing up 100,000 times but no one's clicking on your ad, you're not paying anything. So you're only paying when someone actually clicks on your ad. You're in full control from a budget standpoint, so you can set targets, you can decide how much you want to spend, you can decide when you would like the system to stop advertising because you've reached your limit. There's a lot of advantages to it that I'll leave to Ahmed to explain in the next session. But essentially, the biggest one that I really want to talk to you about is that you're going to be showing up when people are looking for something related to your business. That's the most powerful element of AdWords. So we hope you enjoy your journey with us today. I'm going to hand over to Ahmed. Before I hand over, I just want to point out we have, if what you see today is interesting for you, if after Ahmed takes you through his presentation, you're interested to get your business onto AdWords, look for people who are wearing either green or blue, what are these called? Lanyards? Okay. So green or blue in the back. We have a number of qualified professionals who are our partners in this, who are able to help get your business online. And they also have some very exciting offers for you today to help get you online. So without further ado, let me hand over to Ahmed, who is one of our AdWords gurus here in Dubai. And thank you very much for your time.